Okay, so let's just use this example. We've been given the function as P equals 18 minus Q. Our wage as 20. Can you mute yourself? Please, you want to say something. Mute yourself.
Okay, sure.
Assuming the marginal cost U has been given as 20, then the production function has been given as Q equals L. Okay, Q is a function of labor. So Q equals L. It's not always Q is equal to L. It's even possible it to be Q is equal to 2L or half L. So depending on what we have been given, that is what we use. Now, the scenarios are four. Okay, we are dealing with two markets here: factor market and then the output market. So it's possible that the output firm will be in a competitive market, and then the input firm will also be in a competitive market. That's the first case where output market is competitive, and then the input market is also competitive. Now, the output firm will hire labor up to the point where its marginal revenue product of labor is equal to wage. Okay, so the benefit that we get from hiring labor should be exactly equal to the cost. That's the wage that you pay in order to hire that labor. Okay, but then under perfect competition, marginal revenue is equal to price. Okay, the marginal revenue product of labor is the product of marginal product of labor and the marginal revenue. Okay, so under perfect competition, because marginal revenue is equal to price, then instead of writing marginal revenue, we can say that the marginal revenue product of labor is equal to MPL times price, since price is equal to marginal revenue. Now, what about marginal product? Marginal product is when you differentiate the production function with respect to labor, the expression that you get is your marginal product of labor. So if Q is equal to L, and you differentiate Q with respect to L, you get 1. So MPL is equal to 1. As I said, it's not always like this. If Q is equal to 2L, then MPL will be equal to 2. Okay, MPL will be equal to 2. So for this particular example, MPL is equal to 1. So if marginal revenue product of labor is equal to marginal product of labor times price, and the marginal product of labor is equal to 1, the marginal revenue product of labor will be exactly equal to price. So MRPL will be equal to 1, which is the MPL times 80 minus Q, which is price. So marginal revenue product of labor will be 80 minus Q. But if you go to the labor market, we are saying that Q is equal to L according to the production function. So since Q is equal to L, then instead of Q, we'll use L. So marginal revenue product of labor will be 80 minus L. So this one too, assuming Q was equal to 2L, then here will be 80 minus 2L, since Q is equal to 2L. If Q was equal to half L, okay, if Q is equal to half L, then here, when you are taking the Q away, you have to bring half L. So whatever it is that you've been given from the production function, that is what you have to use. Okay. So the marginal.
Hello.
Yeah, you have a question?
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
It logged me out, so it's now coming back again.
So what was the last thing you heard?
Since Q is equal to L, then we replace the Q with the L.
Yes.
So it becomes 80 minus L.
80 minus L. But what I'm trying to say is that it's not always that Q equal to L. Okay, it's possible that you'll be giving Q is equal to 2L. If Q is equal to 2L, it's just substitution. So wherever you see Q, you put 2L. So this one would have been 80 minus 2L. Okay. So it would have been 80 minus 2L. All right. So now that we have marginal revenue product of labor, the competitive firm will always equate marginal revenue product of labor to wage. Okay. So by equating now, in case you are asked to find the demand for labor function, this is it. The marginal revenue product of labor is the demand for labor function. Okay. So that is 80 minus L. So we equate marginal revenue product of labor to wage. Okay, you equate it to wage. So if you equate it to wage, then we solve for L, that's the quantity of labor that will be hired or traded in the labor market. So MRP is 80. So 80 minus L will be equal to the wage. Here we are assuming wage to be 20. So 80 minus L is equal to 20. If you solve for L, you get L star to be 60, which means that the competitive firm from the output market to go to the labor market to hire 60 units of labor. Okay. And then if L is equal to 60, since Q is equal to L, Q will also be 60. And then if you want to find the output price, price is equal to 80 minus Q. 80 minus Q. So 80 minus 60 will give us what? 20. You see that the price is exactly equal to wage. The reason is that a competitive firm in an output market will always break even. Okay, you always break even. The output price will always be equal to your marginal cost. Here, the cost that the firm incurs is wage. Okay, so price will exactly be equal to wage. So under competitive conditions for both input and the output market, we'll hire 60 units of labor, produce 60 units of output, and then we'll pay 20 units for labor, and then price will also be 20 units. So this is the first scenario where both markets are competitive. Is that okay? Are we together?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's look at the second case. The second case, we have a competitive factor market and then a monopolized output market. Okay. We are using the same information. Please, just a minute. All right. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, sir.
All right. So we are looking at a competitive factor market and then a monopolized output market. Now, when you go to the output market, the demand function is still 80 minus Q. Now, this firm is a monopolist. Okay, so for them, price is not equal to marginal revenue. So if you want to find marginal revenue product of labor, it's equal to marginal revenue times marginal product. Okay, so we have to find the marginal revenue from the demand function. Now, you know that the marginal revenue is twice as steep as the demand function, but then I just wanted to go through this. First, you have to find your total revenue. Total revenue is price times quantity. Price is 80 minus Q times Q. If you expand this, you get 80 Q minus Q squared. Okay. So it means that the marginal revenue for the output firm will be 80 minus 2Q. 80 minus 2Q. So if you want to find the marginal revenue product of labor,
Yeah.
yes.
Hello.
Yes,
Sir.
I'm here.
Hello. Please, can you?
Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Sir, please, it keeps logging me out. So can you start with the competitive and the monopolized output taking?
Lisa, if it continues doing this, I can't continue because I've
Hey,
spoken from this point
money.
up to this point. Is it your network or what?
Yeah, my network. I'm sure. Let's continue. Yes.
Sorry, what were you saying?
Let's continue.
All right, so the second scenario, we are looking at competitive factor market and then the monopolized output market. If you go to the output market, the marginal revenue for a monopolist is not equal to price. It's not equal to the demand curve. So from the demand function, you have to find your marginal revenue for the output firm. Okay. Now price is equal to 80 minus Q. Price is equal to 80 minus Q. So first you have to find your total revenue. Then from your total revenue, you find your marginal revenue. Total revenue is price times quantity. So price times quantity, price is 80 minus Q times our quantity Q. So we'll get 80 Q minus Q squared. So if you want to get the marginal revenue for the output firm, you differentiate the total revenue function with respect to Q. This gives us 80 minus 2Q. So this is the marginal revenue for the output firm. So to find the marginal revenue product of labor, we have to find a product of marginal revenue and marginal product of labor. Remember, the marginal product of labor is equal to 1. So marginal revenue will equal to 80 minus 2Q times 1, which is 80 minus 2Q. Okay. Now, if you go to the output market, okay. Now, this is the demand function facing the input firm. And because the input firm is a competitive firm, the demand function is just what it takes and equates it to wage. Okay. Now the demand function is 80 minus 2Q, and because Q is equal to L, it will be 80 minus 2L. So we have equilibrium in that market when the demand is equal to the wage. So MRPL should be equal to wage. MRPL is 80 minus 2L. This should be equal to wage. Okay. So 80 minus 2L should be equal to wage. But then if you go to the output market, the output firm will always equate marginal revenue to marginal cost. Okay, its marginal revenue is 80 minus 2Q, and we assumed a marginal cost of 20. A marginal cost of 20. So we equate marginal revenue from the output market to the marginal cost. So we have 80 minus 2Q is equal to 20. So we solve for Q here. Solving for Q, we are getting Q to be 30. If Q is 30, Q is equal to L. So L will also be what? 30. Now we need to find the wage. Okay, the wage that will be paid in the input market. Wage from here is equal to 80 minus 2L. Okay, 80 minus 2L. So now that we have L to be 30, wage will be equal to 80 minus 2L, which is 80 minus 2 times 30, and that should give us what? 20. So the output monopolist will go to the input market to hire 30 units of labor and produce only 30 units of what? Output. Unlike the competitive output firm that will hire 60 units of labor and produce 60 units of output. For a monopolist, they try to limit or restrict output so that they can charge a higher price. So he's only paying a wage of 20, but he's charging a price of, remember, P is equal to 80 minus Q. Q is 30. If you put 30 here, we have 80 minus 30, which is what? 50. So he's only paying a wage of 20, but then he's charging a price of what? 50. But if you remember, under competitive, he paid a wage of 20 and then charged a price of 20. So he was breaking even. For a monopolist, they hardly break even. They always charge a price that's above their marginal cost, what you call the markup. Okay. So the monopolist output firm will charge a price of 50, pay a wage of 20, and then limit the quantity that he produces. So this is the case of a competitive factor market and then a monopolized output market. Is that okay? Hello.
Hello, sir.
Is that okay?
Yes, please.
Are you sure?
It was going off, but then I'll get it later.
All right. Now the next scenario is where we have a monopolized factor market and then a competitive output market. Okay, a monopolized factor market and then a competitive output market. Now, if you go to the output market, remember we are saying the output market is competitive. So price should be equal to marginal revenue. Okay, price should be equal to marginal revenue, which means that the marginal revenue product of labor will be exactly the same as what 80 minus Q. Now, the marginal revenue product of labor, which is 80 minus Q, which will be 80 minus L, since Q is equal to L. That is the demand function facing the monopolized or the monopoly firm in the output market. The demand function in the output market is the marginal revenue product of labor. And we know because the output firm is competitive, the marginal revenue product of labor will be equal to price. Okay, so 80 minus L. But then the monopolist in the input market will have to find the marginal revenue of labor in that input market. Remember, a monopoly firm will always equate marginal revenue to marginal cost. Okay, so if you go to the input market, to be because the firm there is a monopolist, he will take the demand function for labor, which is 80 minus L, and find the marginal revenue of labor, and it will be twice as steep. So that will be 80 minus 2L. If the demand function is 80 minus L, then the marginal revenue will be 80 minus 2L. So this is his marginal revenue. He will equate this to the marginal cost of what? 20. We were given the marginal cost of 20. So from here, you solve for L. So solving for L from here, 80 minus 2L is equal to 20. You have 2L is equal to 60. L star will be equal to 30. So if L star is equal to 30, then it means that Q star will also be what? 30. Remember, the marginal revenue product of labor was 80 minus L, and that should be equal to wage. Wage is always equal to marginal revenue product of labor. So if wage is equal to 80 minus L, then L is 30. So we have 80 minus 30, which is what? 50. Okay, which is 50. So if wage is equal to 50, what should be price? Price is 80 minus Q. 80 minus Q, Q is 30. Price should be equal to what? 50. So you see what is happening in this case too. Provided the output firm is competitive, they will always break even. He said he's paying a wage of 50. This wage is higher than the 20D because the input firm has been monopolized. Whenever there's a monopoly firm, you have to pay higher for whatever service or product that is producing. So we pay a higher wage, and as a result, we have to buy the product at a higher price. But the output firm is breaking even. He's paying 50 for labor and then charging a price of 50. So he's not getting any profit at all. So you see the difference between the two. This is the case where we had a competitive input market and then a monopolized output market. There we charge a higher price of 50, but a wage of 20. But for a monopolized factor market, wage will be 50, and the price too is going to be what? 50, so that the competitive firm will break even. But for the competitive input market, he will break even. His marginal cost was 20, and he's charging a wage of 20. You see that there's a break even there. So wherever you see the competitive firm, whether the competitive firm is in the input market or the output market, you still have to what? Break even. Okay. Is that okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. The last case is monopoly in successive markets. So both markets have been monopolized. So first, we start from the output market. If you go to the output market, the inverse demand function was given at P is equal to 80Q. Remember, they don't use the demand function. They use marginal revenue. And if you want to find the marginal revenue in the output market, it's twice as steep as the demand function. So that will give us 80 minus 2Q. MPL is equal to 1. So MRQ will be equal to the marginal revenue product of labor. And we equate that to wage. You understand? So 80 minus 2Q should be equal to weight, but then Q is equal to L. So W should be equal to 80 minus 2L. W is equal to 80 minus 2L. So 80 minus 2L is the marginal revenue product of labor. And this is the demand function facing the monopoly firm in the input market. So his demand function there is 80 minus 2L. He also wants to use this 80 minus 2L, but this is the demand function. He will have to find his own what? Marginal revenue function. And the marginal revenue function will be twice as steep as this. So if this is 80 minus 2L, then the marginal revenue of labor will be 80 minus 4L. 80 minus 4L. This will be his marginal revenue. So he will equate his marginal revenue to marginal cost. Okay, equate his marginal revenue to marginal cost. So we have 80 minus 4L is equal to 20. So if 80 minus 4L is equal to 20, we can solve for L. We are getting L star to what? 15. K star to be 15. So because both markets have been monopolized, you look at the number of the units of labor that is being hired. Only 15. And as a result, they are producing only 15 units. If you want to find wage, wage is equal to 80 minus 2L. If you put your 15 here, then we'll have 80 minus 2 times 15, which is 30. That should give us what? 50. Now wage is 50. Q is 15. L is 15. How do we find price? You go back to the demand function. Price is equal to 80 minus Q. So 80 minus 15 will give us what? 65. So because both markets have been monopolized, the consumers are getting a double hit. Okay, initially they were paying a price of 20 under competitive. When it came to competitive and then monopoly and competitive, they were paying a price of 50. Now, because we have monopoly in successive market, they are paying a price of 65 because the monopolists in the input market will enjoy some level of markup. And then when it comes to the monopolists in the output market too, they also have some level of markup. So the consumer will get hurt twice. That's why price is very high here, getting a price of 65. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
So these are the four scenarios, and the last one is the monopsonist? Do you remember the monopsonist? For him, they equate marginal expenditure to price. That's under competitive conditions, and then equate marginal revenue to marginal expenditure under monopoly conditions. So that one you will be given the demand function, you'll be given the production function, and then you'll be given the wage function. Okay. First, you have to find your total expenditure. We equate total marginal expenditure to price before we can find the labor and the units of labor and then wage. That is under competitive markets. We equate price to marginal expenditure. So I'm showing you how to find the marginal expenditure. Total expenditure is wage times labor. Total expenditure is wage times labor. So you'll be giving wage. It can be just a single number or an expression in terms of labor. So this one we have 10 plus L. So if you want to find total expenditure will be equal to W times L. So we have 10 plus L times L. Expanding, we have 10L plus what? L squared. These are total expenditure. So now, if you want to find marginal expenditure, you differentiate total expenditure with respect to labor. So ME will be equal to DL. If you differentiate this with respect to labor, you get 10 plus 2L. That's what we have here. So if the output firm, if the monopsonist means that he's the only buyer in the input market. So if this buyer is in the competitive output market, you just equate price to what? Marginal expenditure. But then if it's in a monopolized output market, we equate marginal revenue to the marginal expenditure. For this case, the firm was a competitive firm. So from here, P will be equal to half times 200 is 100. Half times 2 K is K. So half P is equal to 100 minus K. But because K is equal to L, we have 100 minus L. So we equate P to marginal expenditure, then we solve for L. So half 100 minus L is equal to 100 minus is equal to 10 plus 2L. Solve for L. After getting L, you go and put it in the wage function to get your wage. Okay. But in a case where the firm was a monopolist, you wouldn't equate twice. You have to equate marginal revenue. So you find the marginal revenue here. Marginal revenue will be 100 minus 2L. So you equate 100 minus 2L to 10 plus 2L. Then you solve for your L. Whatever L that you get, you can put it here and solve for wage. Is that okay? Hello.
Hello.
I hope you
Yes,
understand.
yes. Yes, please.
Okay, I recorded it. So I will send the link.
Okay, sure.